The fucker dumped me. For the first couple of hours, I couldn't think. I just lay on the couch and cried, and a couple of times I went to the bathroom to look in the mirror and see what a mess I was. I was fucked up. My eyes were red and squinty, my face was shiny, and my mouth was all open at the corners in a figure 8, sort of like some kind of Lucille Ball mockery. I'd composed myself for a minute, but as soon as I looked in the mirror again, that Lucy mouth would come back, and I'd hear my own helpless wailing echoing off the bathroom walls. After a while, though, maybe after I'd fallen asleep and woken up without noticing, it was all of a sudden plainly obvious what I needed to do. I had to call 3 butcher shops before I found one that was willing to give me the number of a farmer who would sell me a live sheep. And the guy had a Lafayette address, like an hour drive from downtown. So I was going to have to wait until my day off to go there. But that was okay. The farmer was kind of a freak. He was like, "So why do you want a live sheep again?" And I was like, "I want my 4th grade class to get a sense of the reality of where meat comes from, you know?" He totally gave me the eyeball, but he couldn't come up with a decent argument in the face of my explanation. So he accepted my cash and loaded the animal into my Subaru Forester without saying much more. I had to wait until Wednesday. I just kept the sheep tethered in my kitchen until then. I know the backyard would have been better, but I didn't want to give myself away, and at least it was easy to clean the poop off the linoleum. The thing about Wednesday, besides me having the morning off, was that during the week his mother always gets up early to eat breakfast and do some gardening, like hours before he gets up. Did I mention that he lives with his mother? Fucking loser. So Wednesday morning I drove over to his house and checked that she was actually having breakfast as usual before proceeding. Sheep are way more expensive than you might think. And if she was sick or sleeping for some reason, then the whole thing would be wasted and I'd have to buy another. So I checked her out and she was in the sunroom drinking her orange juice with her pink daisy gardening gloves and her flower clippers on the table. And I knew it was okay to go in as planned. I went back home, scratched Mr. Woolley on the head, then straddled him, held his chin like he was really docile, and slit his throat with my Henkel's 8-inch chef. I really believe in spending the money on high-quality cutlery, you know? It's just not even worth the hassle of using some crappy Ginsu shit or anything like that. And once you cook using a good knife, there's no way you'll ever be satisfied with anything cheap. Anyway, I bled the sheep into a bucket I got at Fred Meyer just for the purpose, and it was surprisingly tidy. I totally thought I'd be mopping up a huge mess, but other than Mr. Woolley evacuating his bowels, there was hardly any mess at all. After he stopped twitching, I hurriedly incised around his neck. I had to act fast before the blood congealed. And peeled the skin from his head. It went smoothly, except for some sticking around the eyes, snout, and lips. I got it off, though, and was just stuffing the sheep carcass into a garbage can when I thought, hey, of course, I should keep one of his legs for chops. That would be so yummy. So I took off one of his hind legs and somehow managed to jam it into the freezer compartment without knocking out all of the half-eaten Haagen-Dazs containers and the frozen tamales from Trader Joe's. The drive from my house to his was only 14 minutes, which of course is why he used to show up at my place in the middle of the night all the time, drunk and horny. I parked half a block away, and once I checked that old Ma was out in the garden, I slipped in, trying hard to not let the garbage bag rustle, you know. The stairway was right off the living room, and his room is at the top, to the right of the bathroom, but left of his mom's. I left the hefty at the bottom and crept up with the half-full bucket, careful not to make the stairs creak, even though I knew he would sleep through me getting up 3 times a night to pee or dogs barking or air raid sirens or whatever. So I went into the bathroom first, closed the stopper on the sink, and carefully poured about half the blood in. I wiped up the couple drops I spilled with toilet paper and stuck it in my pocket. I didn't want to risk flushing the toilet because I was pretty sure I would have gotten in major shit for being in his house without telling anyone. I walked back up to the stairs and meticulously poured a line of blood on each tread without letting any of it run over onto the next tread. It took forever, and my arms were getting tired of holding the bucket, 15 minutes or something. It sucked. I finally got to the bottom, and it was time to set up Mr. Woolley. I took him out of his plastic bag and tried to set him up standing, but his body was still too floppy, since rigor mortis, I guess, takes a while. I ended up leaving him more or less on his knees, with his flayed, open, eyeball head pointed at the staircase, and went home so I could wash up a little before work, since I was pretty skanked out from all the stuff I'd gotten done. Oh, that night, I was marinating some chops when the phone rang. My heartbeat picked up a little and I could feel my cheeks turning pink as I wiped my hands on a dish towel before picking up the phone. I was breathless, all like, hello? And he was all, I was just thinking about you and stuff that happened. And I was all, really? And he was all, yeah. And then he totally asked me if we could get back together, and I invited him over for dinner that night, and it was really great. So, yeah, that was a few weeks ago, and things are still going good.